2020 Jefferson County Corporation meeting called to order from flag. Is there anyone wishing to speak at this moment? Okay, moving on to just a note. This meeting and the next meeting, there are likely some executive sessions coming in. Also, just warning the public that there's some discussions where people may have to come and leave or come back. Moving on to the minutes, page 3. Reviewed. Motion to accept them as presented. So, second. Second. A vote. All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are accepted. Page 6 through 42. Our guest, Powers and Company, will probably walk us through the audit report and give us the highlights and hopefully very few lowlights. But if you wish to walk us through the report, please.
Lori Podman, Lindy Hill, your auditors from Bowers. They're auditor this year, so appreciate the staff working with us through the audit. Lindy, manager on the job, she will present, and questions certainly will answer.
I will jump right into your jump right into the independent auditors report. Starts on the first page. The county principals generally accepted in the United States of America, so overall a clean, unmodified audit opinion. The report notes that management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements. And on the top of page 2, it shows that our responsibility as the auditor is to obtain reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free from material misstatement and issue our opinions. What we saw on the first page. There's also a single audit in the current year because your federal expenditures exceeded $750,000. We'll see that in the back of the package, and that is presented for an additional analysis and also is the responsibility of getting into the actual statement. On page 4, the first is your statement of financial position or your balance sheet. For year end December 31st, 2023, total assets down about 3% from the previous year. It's over $5 million. Liability, total liability up about 31% from the previous year to just over $2.2 million. The majority of that being unearned revenue, so cash you guys have at the minute not been spent, mostly from the ARPA funds. Leaving you the difference with your net assets down about 19% from the previous year to 2.9. Statement of activities on page 5 are your profit and loss. Overall total support and revenue down about 19% from the previous year to just under 1.8 million. Part of the audit, one of the entries is we did write off 5 years of the admin fee between IDA and LDC. 5 months, right? That is deemed uncollectible. That was written off for audit entry, driving down that revenue number. Overall total expenses up 22% to 2.5 million, leaving you with your change in net assets for a loss for the year of $708,960. The next page is your statement of unflow expenses, so full detail on your expenditures broken down by natural classification. Overall pretty consistent with what you've seen in the previous year, what you see internally. 50% of your expenditures relating to your program operations and 20% related to your public. On page 7 is your statement of cash flow. So statement presented on accrual basis. This kind of shows you the shift from that to cash basis. The top being your change in net assets, adding back any non-cash expenditure type items, and the change in your balance sheet for accrual items for receivable payable. Overall, you use cash in operations of about $60,000. Collected outstanding loan receivable balance is about 94. So for cash provided by investing activities, so overall a net increase in cash of about 34,000 for the year. The footnotes of the financial statements are pretty consistent with what you've seen in previous years. So I will just highlight a few significant items. First, on page 9, information regarding the loans receivable and credit for allowance for credit losses. There is a new accounting standard that we were required to adopt in the current year, so it does change A little bit of the disclosure there, that the allowance is also considered future. I mentioned this information. And then on page 12, is the official care recently adopted accounting pronouncement. The measurement of credit losses are also referred to as internal current expected credit losses. And that did not affect any of your beginning balances. Doesn't change the methodology behind your allowance for credit losses. And within note 3 on page 13 is the breakdown of your loan receivable. There you'll also see allowance for credit losses, which was established during the audit procedures, discussing with the adoption of CECL requiring allowance on future expectations of some of those COVID loans, based on current payment schedules, will approve for write-off once they hit a certain balance. So that has been reported as an allowance in the current year. And on the bottom of that page also you'll see the flow of the allowance, no beginning balance. 55,000 reported for the provision and 5,000 written off for COVID loans in the current year, for a net balance of 50 outstanding at the end of the year for your. The next few pages are parallel notes again, with detail further from the statements themselves, but on page 16 within note 6, for related party agreements and transactions. There is disclosure there, as I mentioned, on the agreement with the IDA and LCC for the admin fee. So the admin fee was budgeted for about $707,000, but during the year, 5 months of in-kind services were provided. And IDA did not reimburse the LCC about $295,000. That fee was reduced. Financial statements down to the level of. The bottom of that page also discloses information on your unearned revenue. So again, that's cash that you're holding that has not been spent for its purpose yet. The majority of that being the ARPA funds and some additional of the Jefferson County. Note 11 also discloses some information on the bottom of page 17 in regards to the ARPA grant. Maybe you have the funds flowing through from the ICA, but also in the current year, directly from county to the LDC, with a total of about $900,000 of ARPA revenue and a grant expense recognized. Well, required disclosure on for nonprofits on the bottom of page 18 on your liquidity, so your total financial assets, less any that are not available for general expenditures. So overall, you have about 2.9 million of financial assets available to meet general needs for the next fiscal year. So no blank concerns assets maintaining operations. And then the last section of the packet is the reward program information in regards to the single audit. So the first report on page 20 is in accordance with the auditing standards. And on page 21, it discloses there that during our audit, we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control that we consider to be material weaknesses. There's also our test disclosed instances of non-compliance relating to government auditing standards, which we'll go over in a few moments, and a schedule of findings and budget and costs. And with that, there is a response for management, and it is disclosed in the report there, that we do not express an opinion on the management response. The next report, in accordance with uniform guidance, so compliance for the single audit, does have an opinion that you complied in all material respects. And then on the top of page 24, under other matters, it discloses that the results of our auditing procedures disclose instances of non-compliance, which are required to be reported according to uniform guidance, which we'll go over in the schedule of findings and budget and costs. Overall, no deficiencies in internal control are considered to be material weaknesses, but one that a deficiency in internal control is considered to be a significant deficiency. So on page 26 is your schedule of expenditures of federal work. So there you will see the use of the ARPA funds in the current year, about 913,000. About 315,000 of those were passed through to the subrecipient, which is what is the findings from a single audit, which are on page 29. The schedule of findings is less than cost here that discloses significant deficiencies for identifying a public bubble alert. So the LDC did not identify a subrecipient of the coronavirus. Fiscal recovery funds and applicable requirements at the time the subaward was made to this organization. So because of that and not identifying it for internal control purposes, it's not in compliance with the federal statute, which leads into the second comment which is labeled as 2023-2 on the following page for the subrecipient monitoring. Not identifying them as subrecipient as kind of contract, them for compliance purposes with uniform guidance. Is that you are required to monitor the subrecipient, so not identifying what to monitor them in accordance with the uniform guidance. So that is more of an internal control. Finding in terms of the single audit and some of the final requirements with those special grant funds for me. And then the last report in the packet is the communication with government governance. So within the letter, it discloses the adoption of the new accounting standard for the credit losses. It also discloses information on significant estimates that affect your financial statements. So including the allowance for your credit losses, depreciation calculations, and estimates of present value on the right of use asset at least liability, and also the function of allocation for expenditures. One material misstatement from audit procedures that is attached to the letter, along with your monthly inspected by management. But overall, no difficulty performing our audit. And on the LDC audit report.
Can you tell us a little bit more about not recognizing?
Yeah, I'll explain that. So essentially, we're the federal funds of the county. And, you were, the IU was something and others. What we didn't realize was that one of our contracts also considers a portion fund they were using correctly, portion fund they were then passing to others, and not recognizing that. I thought the first division, second division, but then therefore it's not required proper monitoring. We were monitoring that report, but it also involves identifying the coverage part of the monitoring, requiring them also by the account. So we corrected that.
Good question. That'll move us to page 43 of our packet. We have a resolution. Resolution 03.07.2024.1. The meeting resolution is the annual meeting resolution of Jefferson County Local Development Corporation, including acceptance of the annual audit, which we just reviewed, to adopt certain policies, standards, and procedures relating to the Public Authorities Accountability Act of 2005, as amended by Chapter 506 of the law of 2009 of the state of New York, election of board of officers, appointing board committee positions, appointment of corporate staff, and related matters. And in our meeting notice, there's also tariff reports which are included in here, which coincide with the audit. So having read the resolution, I think it's accepted as presented. That was it? Yep. This needs a second. Any other discussion or questions? The parish reports go through 100 page hundreds, but there's a lot. So they really look at our prior loan commitments and something we're mandatory to do every year, correct? They're posted on the website. Yeah, once a prior one. They really give us a big snapshot of how our money has been leveraged and utilized to successfully advance projects. So highlight that to the entity anyways, leverage money to make other entities do this. Any other? No. Okay. This is the roll call vote, please.
Dave,
Dave's here. He's on. He's muted though.
John?
Hi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Greg or Dave, if you're there, do you have a yay, nay, or an abstain?
I'm having a little trouble hearing you guys, but
Yep.
if you're asking for a vote, it's aye.
When we're, everybody's aware, we have the new equipment, you can see how crisp our screen is, but it's sort of a learning microphone. So we just be aware of that. If you could speak up a little bit, we're still working out all things, work great still this morning, for it. So just want to mention that.
I agree. I'm not having any luck at volume hearing you.
So it's worse right now instead of better, I guess.
Little trouble here too.
Dave Converse, were you a yes or a no or an abstain on the president?
That's a yes if you can hear me.
Yes,
We can.
We can hear
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, that'll move us to page 123 of our packet. Paul asked if I could do the treasurer's report in his absence. So the treasurer's report starts on page 123. You can see we had a slightly better month, basically double, than the previous month, and year to date, our net position is positive, a little over $25,000 net income over expenditures, year to date. Going through the rest of the statements, cash position, balance sheet has been materially changed from prior month. And there are on page 129 of our packet. I think it's a timing issue. And I'll ask staff for that. There's two accounts that are 30 days, and I think they sometimes that's the case going on. Okay, timing issue. Okay, nothing to be concerned with. Everything else is in order. Really nothing significant to draw attention to in the cash receipt or cash. To the end of the report to see if there's any notes ahead. Really nothing else. With that, I would make a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented. Second. First, second. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
That'll move us to page 141. Yeah.
Do you think we could adjourn and then go into IDA so they could finish up on it?
Yeah, I mean, I've got no issue with that. And then because that report will carry through the, whatever that other alphabet is, whatever, the other one, the longer alphabet. The one I can never remember what it is. So it's really not an adjournment. It's suspending, yeah. Yeah, suspending. Right. I think there's a proper term for it. It's not an adjournment. Okay. I knew we had a lawyer. So we have a motion to suspend to hear the audit report of the IDA. Okay. And, all in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? So for the public, we're going to momentarily open up the IDA meeting so that we can hear the audit report and then our staff to go on with their day rather than listening to the rest of our business.
But they're free to stay if they quit.
Yes, we encourage you to stay. You can actually see government at work. So on the IDA packet, I think the audit starts on page 6 also. Their report number and ours, I think off by 7 or something like that. I think start with you, Wick, for the idea. Are we good with recording and everything? Okay. Make it as long as it needs.
Unmodified opinion against financial statements that presented in accordance with the county principles and the United States of America. Where management is responsible for the financial.
Could I stop you? I'm sorry. Would you mind sitting here? Because I want everybody to be able to hear, and I'm just worried that you're getting a little bit sort of lost back there in the back right, microphones with all the other stuff, if you don't mind. I'm sorry.
I don't think it takes much.
No, it's not you, it's the.
It's not you, it's us.
I hear a warning.
Yeah,
And the mic up there.
yeah, it is up there, but
I don't think you need.
you should be better.
Just say, don't talk. Necessarily, okay.
Not hooked up at all.
No, that's for the streaming, and these other little mics are no longer.
So please continue.
Yep, so it's financial statements, again, clean unmodified opinion, management is responsible for the financial statements, it's our responsibility to request opinion from them. Similar to the LDC, the IDA is required to have a single audit. For the expenditures, with the Department of Defense grant, we'll also see, the information on that in the back of the packet, as well as their supplementary schedules, with the consolidating statements, so details within the IDA of the loan program. And also consolidating in LVP, and the other component unit as well. The IDA does have an analysis in the financial statement. So that first grouping of pages, again, recommend everyone does read through that, good 2-year comparison that management prepares. That's subject to actual information on the project, the outlook. So I will skip over that. And start with page 18 of the financial statement packet. Is the combined statement of that position. So again, with the combined, so it's the IDA, LDC, and FCC as the component units. So overall, in total assets down about 8% from the previous year to just over 16 million. Total liabilities down about 15% to 3.7 million, leaving you with your total net position of about 12.3 million, down 5% from the previous year. Page 19 is your combined statement of revenue, expenses, and change in that position. Overall, total operating revenues, about half of what they were in the previous year, about $932,000. Operating expenditures down about 13% to $1.5 million, leaving you with a net operating loss of about $648,000. Non-operating revenue expenditures consisting of grant income and expense, and interest income. So overall, leaving you with a net change in that position or loss for the year of $646,936. The statement of cash flow on page 20. Direct cash flow statement here, so broken down by sections. The top, your operating activities with reconciliation on the next page. But overall use of about $573,000 in cash in operations. About $132,000 of cash provided by non-capital financing activities. 55,000 used in capital and related financing, about $9,000 of interest recognized and earned in the current year. Overall, leaving you with a net decrease in cash of about $487,000. Similar as we saw in the LDC, the notes to the financial statements are pretty consistent with previous years and provide a lot of the extra details. So I will just highlight a few of the main points. Similar to the pronouncement in regards to measure of credit losses of financial instruments. Similar does not restate any of the prior year financials, but does affect the calculation process for your allowance on credit losses. Note 3, starting on page 28, discloses information on your loan portfolio for total overall outstanding loans. And then also on page 29, it does disclose information on the allowances that the IDA holds over the revolving loan program and the home price loan program. And then those being calculated based on historical trends and also future economic forecasts. Page 31, within note 3 for loan receivables, does disclose the roll forward of the allowance. So there you'll see the provision for any recoveries and the credit losses incurred on the loan program. Note 6 discloses information on the roll forward of your unearned revenues. Again, so this is consolidated, but does show the cash flow in the remaining funds available, mostly again to the ARPA funds. There is about 1.2 million of that total unearned revenue directly related to the IDA. I will just highlight on the bottom of page 35 within note 10 of the pilot program. Obviously, the pilot funds are collected on behalf of other governments, so those come in and out, not being recognized on your financial statements, but they are disclosed on the statement of cash flow, which we saw about 1.1 million of cash coming in, cash out. Jumping to the bottom of page 38, it does disclose again information on the grant funding with the ARPA funds, and also for note 14 is on the community investment grant. So in terms of the $9 million project with the YMCA, the remainder of that has been recognized in the current year as revenue and expenditures. And all funds have been dispersed to date. Also on the top of page 37, note 15 for the business complex, grant reimbursement has been submitted to JCIDA for one of those projects, so there is about $393,000 of grant income receivable that day. In the financial statements for reimbursement for expenditures 2019 through 2020. On page 40, similar as we saw within the LDC, also in terms of the related party agreements, again, 5 months of the admin fee was waived. So similar in the IDA financial statements, for the admin fees that are reduced down to about $412,000. So page 42 through 47 is those combining statements, so I won't really go through any of the other, but there you will see separate costs for the IDA versus the component unit, for the LDC and FCC on the balance sheet, as well as the breakdown within the IDA for your general operations, revolving loan programs, microenterprise, and the statewide program. And then the last section in the packet, similar, is the single audit for the federal award program information. So overall, the first report in accordance with government auditing standards opinion, but it states that we don't have any deficiencies in internal control that are considered to be material weaknesses, and no instances of non-compliance in accordance with government auditing standards. In the following report, in accordance with the uniform guidance, overall, it is stated that in our opinion, you comply with all material compliance requirements. And on page 53, that there is no deficiencies in internal control that are considered to be material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. With your schedule of expenditures of federal awards presented on page 54, so about 3.3 million, and then from the Department of Defense, it was passed through to the federal system and full. Page 56 of the schedule of finding question costs are kind of on one page. There are all the information on the opinions in reporting. Again, so clean, unmodified opinions, no significant deficiencies, material weaknesses, or anything to report under the IDA. And then lastly, similar to communication with a board letter, again, disclosing that we did adopt the accounting standard for credit losses in the first similar estimate statements for depreciation, allowance on the credit losses. None of the misstatements during our procedures of the IDA were material. Management, difficulty performing the audit or
Under expenses, we include under professional.
that has been set up separately.
Was there any, what else would be included under consulting or further of that? I mean, is that basically 100% legal fees, or professional fees?
No, that includes the audit fees.
If there are no questions, I will ask the motion two parts. One, to send the IDA hearing be open, and restarted that privilege of the floor, and then to, reopen the rest of the, JCLDC. Anyway. Yeah, yeah. First. Second. Okay, all in favor?
I,
All right, so we will, go back in the JCLDC where we left off, and we're just going to start the committee report. There's one committee. That's fine, so likely be executive session. So we'll, have Kent give a, anything he briefly wants to share, and then, we can look for a motion to go into executive session to discuss matters leading to the appointment and employment of a particular person. So to start with, anything you want to share in public or?
Fine, last Thursday, the ad hoc committee met along with, Lisa was there, John was there and Rob was there and had some very good input. We had a couple, applications that we interviewed and, then the day, certain came up with recommendations for the full board. So this time I'll let you make a motion on the executive session to discuss the, personnel.
Okay.
And would you like to remain in the meeting?
Yeah. Council, council can be. There's one secrecy anyway. That